Hi, I'm Jonathan Stemmer. Welcome to the Healing Connection. We now know from quantum physics that humans are energy fields flowing in and surrounded by a universal energy. On today's show, we're going to look at a form of healing called Therapeutic Touch, which acknowledges and utilizes this energy. Therapeutic Touch is an innovative healing technique which has been scientifically studied in various centers around the world. It's been shown to be effective in the management of pain and stress reduction and the treatment of burns, fractures, wounds, and fever. Therapeutic Touch is a non-invasive, holistic approach to healing based on an energy reaction between two people, utilizing the energy field surrounding the body. The practice of therapeutic touch is a contemporary interpretation of several ancient healing practices based on assumptions that human beings are complex fields of vital energy and that the ability to enhance healing in others is a natural human potential. Therapeutic touch practices consist of learned skills for consciously directing or sensitively modulating human energies. The human hand is used instinctively to balance and promote the flow of human energies, resulting in the alleviation of pain and in the healing of disease. The whole process is perfectly natural and can be applied to self-healing and the healing of others. Our guest is Cordy Anderson, an experienced nurse and therapeutic touch practitioner.
I first learned about therapeutic touch when I was working in home health and hospice. A friend of mine, Neela Campbell, was working with people in crisis or who were terminally ill, and she told me about this modality called therapeutic touch. It was something that I learned and used with my patients almost immediately. And what it did was gave me a tool to relieve anxiety, help them be more comfortable, and help them after surgery or after an acute hospitalization. Therapeutic touch, very simply defined, is an energetic interaction between two people where one person has the intention to help or to heal. And the therapeutic touch practitioner uses their hands to assess and balance the human energy field while staying centered and focusing on the intention to help.
The therapeutic touch process of healing involves a conscious engagement of the self in the compassionate interest of helping the one who is ill or in trauma. Within the first few minutes of the healing session, a profound relaxation response occurs, pain is reliably lessened, and the healing process is significantly accelerated.
One of the assumptions in therapeutic touch is that it is a human potential, that each of us have the ability to help another person when they are ill. This is a modality that has steps that anybody can learn, but it is not required that anybody have any special belief or attachment to a set of beliefs.
The therapeutic touch techniques can use contact touch. However, very often the healing work is done directly in the human energy field, a few inches from the physical body. The subtle human energy field is a uniquely suited medium for healing both self and others. This energy has an inherent pliancy which lets it expand and contract with great sensitivity to both external circumstances and subjective thoughts and feelings.
I would like to tell one story about a young man in his 40s who I was seeing at home, and then he did have to go into the hospital towards the end of his life. And I went in to do therapeutic touch one day, and he was asleep in his bed and his wife was next to him. And I proceeded to do therapeutic touch just because I wasn't sure how long he was going to be sleeping. And so I went ahead and did it, and he was asleep. And then after I finished, I was just sitting and talking to his wife for a few minutes. And he opened his eyes and he looked at me and he says, "I just had a dream about you." And he didn't even realize I was in the room. And he said, it was the most beautiful dream. I was walking up this mountain, going towards the light and the sunlight, and he started to cry. And he felt so much at peace and so at ease and so comfortable that I knew that therapeutic touch touched him at a level that I wasn't even aware of. It was very subtle. And so I knew that physically he was more comfortable and his pain was relieved. But to touch him at that level when he was even asleep, to me, was totally amazing.
What is done at one level of consciousness naturally and spontaneously affects the other levels, making the therapeutic touch process a personal engagement between the one receiving and the one giving the treatment.
More and more now, the science of quantum physics is showing us that our brain actually perceives the energetic field, and that we see each other as a human, we see each other as a solid being. But in actuality, we are a field of energy, moving in a sea of energy. And that's one of the things that helps us to understand that we are always connected to one another. Therapeutic touch is an actual lived experience of recognizing and understanding how connected we are. And as the therapeutic touch practitioner quiets themselves and changes their energetic field to a very peaceful place, the person that we're working with actually resonates with that peacefulness and that sense of calm. That's one of the ways that we can support another.
Therapeutic touch is distinguished from other systems by the practitioner's use of sustained centering, remaining consciously and deeply focused during the act of helping and healing.
Therapeutic touch has 5 simple steps. The first is called centering, where the practitioner becomes very quiet and still inside, as well as becoming grounded, connected, putting roots down into the earth. And as I said before, this is something that happens at the very beginning, and then the therapeutic touch practitioner actually stays centered throughout the entire process. The next thing the practitioner does is assesses the patient's field. We use our hands and we learn to feel the energetic difference just outside the body. So we work between 2 and 4 inches from the body using our hands to assess the human energy field. Once we've assessed the field, and what we're assessing for is differences, places that might be blocked where the flow isn't moving as smoothly or as easily as it can. What we assess for is imbalances or blockages, and then the treatment phase is where we use our intention and our hands to facilitate the flow and balance of the human energy field. And we use our hands, moving them over the person's body, sometimes even touching the body, so that we get their support in moving the energy. So our purpose is, our intention is to take the blockages away, to help the energy move more freely, move more evenly. And then we reassess and continue that treatment. And then at the very end, the closure is a final assessment to make sure that everything feels balanced, harmonious, and we usually end up at the person's feet with thoughts of grounding, with thoughts that any extra energy, anything that isn't helpful, can just slide right into Mother Earth.
Sustained centering has a profound effect not only on the patient, but on the practitioner as well, who is forced to examine the nature of his or her own inner life while helping the person in need.